Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We are doing Oxford Mathematics book D1 and the chapter is 10, that is the basic geometry. And up till now we discussed complementary angles, supplementary angles, angles at a point, vertical opposite angles, and we have seen all the possibilities. Now it's a time to discuss another type of angles. And what are those? Angles formed by two parallel lines and a transversal. And what do I mean by that? That if we have two parallel lines like this, A, B, C, D, and when I say parallel lines, that is, these lines are never going to meet each other. They are not going to cut each other. They are just like the railway tracks, the two tracks going side by side, right? And these two lines are parallel. And if these two parallel lines, and of course they are parallel, they are straight, if they are intersected by a third line, which is known as transversal, there are certain type of angles formed. The angles formed are corresponding angles, alternate opposite angles, and interior angles. Initially, we'll discuss the corresponding angles. Okay. Now, what are the corresponding angles? The situation we have is, we have two parallel lines A, B, C, D. The lines are parallel, straight, and they are intersected by a third line. Now the angles formed we are going to discuss are the corresponding angles. These are the angles which occupy the same relative position. That is, they are on the same side of the transversal, that is the line which is intersecting both the parallel lines, and they have the same corresponding position with respect to the parallel lines. Like if I say this and this, if this is A, this is B. Now I'm going to say that angle A and angle B both are corresponding angles. They're on the same side of the transversal. They occupy the same relative position. Okay. Now there are four possibilities of the corresponding angles. This is one. Now in this case, angle A is equal to angle B. Okay. Now there is another possibility, possibility number 2. Now the possibility 2 is this and this. Suppose this is X and this is Y. Okay, these are also corresponding angles, and here angle X is equal to angle Y. The third possibility, is this. These are also corresponding angles. Angle U equals angle V. And finally we come to the fourth possibility, Okay, so these four possibilities are for the corresponding angles, and the corresponding angles, we have a pair of angles which is equal. Either this A is equal to this B, this X is equal to this Y, this U is equal to this V, this C is equal to this D. Okay, and these that is why it is defined as angles which have this the same relative position, right? And they are on the same side of the transversal. Now, these angles are also remembered as with the English alphabet F. Why is that? Because see, F, this is making F, and the angles which we might get here and here, right? We might get them here and here. So the corresponding angles are remembered with a character F. So these are the corresponding angles. So let's move to alternate interior angles. Now, these alternate interior angles, by the name we can get the idea. These angles are within the parallel lines. Now, what do I mean by this? If I have these parallel lines, A, B, C, D. Okay. Now, the alternate interior angles are, if I have one angle this and one this. This is A, this is B. So the alternate angles are within the parallel lines and on the opposite side of the transversal. Here, angle A is equal to angle B. So remember, alternate angles are within parallel lines and they are on the opposite side of the transversal. So they have two possibilities. This is the possibility number one, and the second possibility is A, B, C, D. So second possibility is one angle is this and one angle is this. Okay, X, Y. So angle X is equal to angle Y. So alternate angles are within the two parallel lines. They are on the opposite side of the transversal, which is intersecting the parallel lines. Okay. So first possibility and the second possibility. Now let's move to just one thing. These angles are remembered with the character Z, like this or like this. Okay, angles, 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 angles. So as corresponding angles are remembered with a character F, these angles are remembered with the character Z or Z. So now let's move to the third type of angles, which are formed when the two parallel lines are intersected with the transversal, which is interior angles. Okay, I am saying interior angles, not the alternate, just interior angles. Okay, interior angles are also within the two parallel lines, but they are on the same side of the transversal line. Like, what do I mean? If these are the two parallel lines, our transversal A, B, C, D, these are parallel lines. Now, angles this and this within the two parallel lines and on the same side of the transversal. So like this is, if this is A, this is B. Now these two angles are not equal. Okay, we are not going to say these two angles are equal, but if you remember, just remember this part and you recall supplementary angles. When we were discussing the supplementary angles, I gave you the idea that if we have like this, and I said that these two angles, if we sum up these two angles, we get the total, which is 180 degree. So same is the case here. Angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degree. Okay. So interior angles, pair of interior angles, if we sum up those pair of two interior angles, it's going to give us the total of 180 degree. And if you remember, in case of supplementary angles, the pair of angle is equal to 180 degree and we call them supplementary angles. So these interior angles they are two angles, so they are supplementary as well. Okay. So the second possibility of this is transversal parallel lines A, B, C, D, and these C, D. So angle C plus angle D is equal to 180 degree. So corresponding angles are on the same side of the transversal, but they occupy the same relative position, right? And we can remember with the character F. Alternate angles, they are within the two parallel lines but on the opposite side of the transversal and they are equal. And the interior angles, they are on the same side of the transversal within the parallel lines and the sum of these angles is equal to 180 degree. So these are the angles which we needed to discuss in the framework of the chapter 10, that when the two parallel lines are intersected with a transversal, what angles are formed and what names we give them, and when they are equal and when the sum is equal to 180 degree. So thank you very much for now, and in the next session I will solve few questions from the exercise, and which involve these all the corresponding angles, alternate angles, vertical opposite angles, and interior angles, right? And if we remember all these angles, the questions will be easy. So once again, thank you very much.